What is going on, everyone? Badger here. Should have liked and sub, and let's get into this. And while here at home, you can rest assured that the government, through the DHS and the FBI, is looking hard at gamers looking for extremism in gaming and anything, which really just means Republican or anything not bowing to the Biden regime. But the other end of that here is U.S. government reportedly investing millions of dollars in Ukraine video game industry as part of an effort to counter Russian disinformation and propaganda, which surely exists, but I'd argue that's probably more of a problem here with Russian bot farms than it is over in Ukraine. In fact, I wager none of Ukraine's problems are currently anything related to us or should be. That's a whole nother pod or video. According to a new report, U.S. government has been investing millions of dollars into the Ukrainian video game industry in an effort to help teach the local population how to both identify and combat Russian disinformation and propaganda, I guess between dodging drone strikes. This insight into the Biden administration's spending habits was first brought to light on May 30th, courtesy of video game news outlet Aftermath. Shout out. Per an investigation conducted by Grayson based on a tip from a reader and published to his site. Sounds like real games journalism. On April 9th, the U.S. State Department began accepting applications for two never before offered video game disinformation related grants worth a total of 1 million USD in funding. The Designing for Democratic Resilience and Renewal grant required that its recipient not only develop an evergreen game in a sandbox platform with an existing fan base in which participants play a game that builds cognitive resilience to authoritarianism and promotes democratic norms and values, but also ensure that said game will increase player skepticism of foreign propaganda and disinformation by increasing player media literacy and digital safety. Oh, that sounds like that could backfire, which would be a good thing. At the same time, a lesser $250,000 grant was set aside in service of establishing Ukrainian esports counter disinformation teams and tournament. Jesus Christ, do the Ukrainians not have slightly bigger issues right now? Leveraging the popularity and penetration of video games in Eastern Europe, penetration, giggity. The implementer will develop an esports program at American Spaces in Ukraine. Explained the State Department of the grant's purpose. Esports athletes will need professional training to form a talent pipeline to professional teams in Ukraine. Bro, they're wearing plate carriers and they're in the front right now getting shelled. What are we talking about here? In tandem with the traditional esports training, these athletes will receive counter disinformation and conflict resolution training to confront foreign propaganda and disinformation in competitive online gaming spaces. The project will culminate with an esports tournament and coalition building event on the sidelines of the tournament. Bruh. A little over 2 weeks after these grants began accepting applications, money laundering, the State Department would launch a third such funding initiative, this one offering $800,000 to assist in the creation of a United with Ukraine game jam. Well, why not just get together and sing Around the World or some shit? Drawing on the science of pre-bunking and the popularity and penetration, giggity, of video games, the implementer will organize a game jam, said the government. Games developed during the United with Ukraine game jam will increase player skepticism of foreign propaganda and disinformation. I'm increasing my fucking skepticism that we've made it this far, that this is what you're doing with our stolen tax money. Pressed for comment on their investments by Grayson, a State Department official asserted, since Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine, so much of the country has been mined and menaced that it is not always safe for children to play outside. For the time being, the future of play in Ukraine will largely be indoors. Fair point. One popular avenue for safe indoor play is video games. The ability to communicate in games and game-adjacent spaces is an important vector for engaging with hard-to-reach audiences targeted by disinformation narratives, like most of the American populace. If all you do is read mainstream, New York Post, New York Times, whatever, or listen to CNN, especially Russian youth, to advance our efforts to counter Russian disinformation and propaganda. Russia clearly already understands the power of gaming, as they have developed their propaganda and disinformation apparatus to spread pro-Kremlin and anti-Ukraine narratives on games. They added these funding opportunities offer a way to empower Ukrainian storytellers, developers, and gamers to recognize propaganda and disinformation that is commonly spread through games and harness their design skills and playing abilities to effectively push back against it. To this end, the official then confirmed that while these trio of grants were not the first video game related funding opportunities to be offered by the US government, they did represent the state's largest investment to date in gaming and digital media literacy. And obviously, no, the Russian government has indeed learned the lesson of that's how they do it. Yuri Bezmenov said this happened in the 80s, where you got to the youth through the schools, but obviously a modern application, because the right, our right, at least up until recently, has certainly ignored video games, movies, comics, TV shows, all the things we talk about as it's fertile ground for propaganda and agenda, as we've been explaining to you with ESG and all that. This is just an advanced form. And yeah, the Russians know what's up. They have troll and bot farms rather. Yeah, it's just, why are we the ones spending money teaching Ukrainian video gaming youth how to spot propaganda? How about we teach our youth? Oh, that's right, because then they would spot your propaganda. Anyway, let me know what you think. But again, they have no problem having the Department of Homeland Security and the FBI target gamers here for extremists, which these days is anyone that says Trump is innocent. Let me know what you think of all of this. Make sure to like, share, and sub. If you have done that, thank you. If you're gonna do that, thank you. And
well, bye.